So good morning, everyone. We'll give folks a couple minutes, or at least a minute or so, to get logged in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. Good morning again. Item number 1 is to call to order. Item number 2 on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the meeting of September 8th, 2022. Got a motion and a second? Yeah, looks like the same person. Way to go, Brent. Thank you. Okay, now I need a second. Now we have a second. Record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 3 on the agenda is the consent docket. We just have one item. Have a motion and a second. Record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 4 is to ratify approvals. We can take these with one motion. A motion and a second. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 5 is to approve the claims docket. Have a motion and a second. Record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 6 is to approve the following applications for service retirement. We have quite a few this month. Have a motion and a second. Record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 7 is to receive report of death, authorize payment of the $5,000 death benefit, and authorize the secretary to make necessary changes to conform on the following. Have a motion and a second. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 8, receive report of death, authorize secretary to make necessary changes to conform on the following. Have a motion and a second. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 9 is to approve the following application of vested rights. Have a motion and a second. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Item 10 is to approve request of the following to terminate vested rights and commence retirement benefits. Have a motion and a second. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 11 is items for individual consideration, and we have 3 items. Item A is a resolution recommending the City Council adopt an ordinance relating to personnel and retirement systems, amending Section 40-79 of Article 3, Division 1, Part B of Chapter 40 of the Oklahoma City Municipal Code 2020, amending the cost of living adjustments to permit the payment of a stipend to retirees who are eligible for a cost of living adjustment and providing for codification.
Good
Virginia,
morning.
you just want to give us a little overview
Sure.
on this,
Yeah.
please?
I think I covered it in the memo, but just in case there are any questions, I just wanted to give a overview. The retiree cost of living adjustment currently is capped at 2%. The Plan Design Committee of this board met and discussed options to assist during this time of historic inflation. The ordinance that's been drafted for your consideration would allow for an additional flat amount to be granted to those retirees who are eligible for cost of living increases. And any of those future stipends that would be considered by the board would take into consideration the impact of overall funding, plan funding level, what the impact would be to the plan funding level. And those stipends would be considered at the same time as the cost of living adjustments when those are considered by the board. With your recommendation or approval of this draft, it will be introduced at council at the next city council meeting on the 25th and subsequent hearings in November, so that it would be effective by the end of the year before the board considers cost of living adjustments, so that it would allow for that option the next time we consider it.
Does anyone have any questions? All this will do is to change this ordinance to allow us to consider a stipend in those years where, very much like we're experiencing now with record inflation, it allows us to do a stipend in addition to the cost of living adjustment.
Yeah, I had a question.
Sure.
It's been 9 years since we changed the retirees' calculations for the raises. It was 4% 9 years ago, and we lowered it to 2%. It was supposed to be a temporary fix because we were underfunded. It's been 9 years. Is it time we consider going back to the original 4%? I mean, if we're already changing the ordinance, why not just go ahead and change it back to where it originally was?
I can say that during those 9 years, the CPI that we use is based upon December to December changes with the CPI, and the rate of change has been 0.7% to 2.3%. So I think 2% is in line with what has really historically happened. And I will say that nationally, the NCPERS, a National Organization of Pension Systems, that the average nationally is 1.7. So,
But I believe the first year we did this, it was actually 2.3, so they missed out on a 0.3 raise the very first year we did it, which might not be a lot to us, but this is the difference in a loaf of bread for a retiree. And what is it this year? You're saying 7%?
it was 7%.
And they're only going to get
last-
2%. So if they were back to the 4%, they would get a 4% raise, which would make a significant difference in
Right.
their lives.
I work at the board's discretion, so I'm just the implementer, as I've been trained a lot of years here at the city. The board, that's the board's decision. If there's consideration for if you want changes, or if that's something that the board wants to do in the future to increase it back.
Well, right now, I think what this item, the only reason that we brought this forward was because we'd heard from, not many, but we've heard from
Yes,
a few
yes.
retirees asking about this, and the Plan Design Committee, or was it the Administrative Committee, met, and we were advised by legal that if we were going to do the stipend, because the ordinance currently does not allow for a stipend, that we needed to come in and change the ordinance, and that's all this does. It just allows for a stipend. Increasing the max on the cost of living adjustment is something that we can look at, but that's not included in this ordinance change right now.
Agree. And I would say that I would advise the board that if you want to change it, increase it, the cap back to 4% or any other amount, that we would need the actuary to do an analysis to determine those impacts, because the actuarial analysis assumes the max every year is given for future, forever and ever. So that could have a huge impact to our funding level.
On funding level. So, and it's important that we approve this change today in order to get it approved, because as Regina said, it has to go to council, what, 3 times?
Yes.
It has, so that's a 6-week period in order to get this approved, if we approve it today.
Right.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah,
I am in favor of making this change, but the other thing to consider about a stipend is it does not compound. So their losses just keep adding up over the years if they don't get something added into their salary or their pension, so that their COLA can be calculated on that every year.
all right. That's a fact. Just like the stipend that the active employees are getting, the council just approved this week, it's a one-time payment, and it does not compound over the years on our average for our retirement calculation. It's a one-time payment, so. Right. If we don't have any other questions, I'll entertain a motion. Got a motion and a second. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Okay, item B, item 11B, I'm not going to read the whole preamble,
Okay.
but it's a resolution recommending the council adopt an ordinance to set up a governing board for the 401 and the 457, the money purchase plan and the deferred compensation plan. We had contracted with, I take that back, the city had contracted with Asset Consulting Group, what,
2019.
3 years ago, to look at those plans and give us some recommendations. And the one recommendation, probably the overriding recommendation of their report, was that you need to come up with a board of governance in very much the same way that we're the board of governors over, or the trustees, if you will, over the pension system. We need to set up a board of trustees to oversee the 401 and the 457 plans to benefit those employees that are enrolled in those programs. So that's all this does. It was introduced to council 3 weeks ago.
September 26th.
26.
Yes.
It was introduced. We had the first public hearing
Tuesday.
on it on Tuesday. Both times it was approved with no questions from the city council. So all we're doing is we're recommending
Adoption.
adoption
Yeah.
on behalf of the board, so.
Questions?
Sure.
questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I went over this, and I noticed they're wanting all employees, they can join now this deferred compensation instead of deferred benefit plan. Are they going to tell current employees that they can take their money and switch it over to here? Or is this going to be for new employees? I'm a little confused on.
There's no
The wording.
changing of the plans whatsoever.
Okay.
This is just creating a governing body. The two vendors will continue with the 457 plan, and the vendor that we have for the 2 money purchase plans will continue. This is just to do oversight policy creation, similar to what this board does. You know, there's no investment policy statement for these plans. There's nobody negotiating fees, those type of
Okay,
things.
because I'm a little confused on the wording they changed for the people that can join this plan. It looked like the wording changed as if new employees coming in could join it. I mean,
New employees can join it,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay. So, because it looked like it was different before. The wording was different?
There's no change.
Was it
Yep.
the same
No.
people? Okay.
And if
then.
the wording in any sections changed, if you could see me after, and I can just point it out to
Point it
me,
out.
and I'll be happy to answer. But
Okay, then.
it does not disqualify anybody that was qualified before.
Okay,
It
then.
should be the same populations that are eligible for every full-time employee is, you know, eligible for the 457 plan.
Okay, then.
On the money purchase plan, it is, there are criteria, I want to say in 4061, that outlines who the eligible participants are for the money purchase plans. So that is not changing.
Okay, great, thanks.
Any other
Regina,
questions?
Yes.
Just one.
Yes.
Just for clarification, my understanding is one of the bigger features of what we're doing here is somewhat of the oversight of the options that employees can invest in. And through this committee, there would be a review to see who are these companies that are being offered and give some assistance in that way and some guidance with Nationwide for the 457 plan as to what they would allow the employees to get into, but it would be the employee's decision still as to what they choose to invest in. So nothing changed in that regard. Have
They're
I
still-
missed anything?
No, you're exactly correct. They are self-directed plans. I'm just going to say this publicly, there have been, in the private sector, there have been litigation against private sector plans, ERISA-regulated plans, on too many options being available, too confusing, those type of things. And we most certainly do not want that issue with our defined contribution plans, with these self-directed plans. We don't want to just hand information to participants and say, here you go. We want there to be some analysis of the offerings, the fund lineups, and all of that. And that's why we want professionals to get contracted by this board to do that. Does that help or answer your question? Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I do have one more. There is pending legislation also in the Secure Act. I know you're aware of this, that will impact the deferred compensation, the 457 plans. And so that's another reason why this is a little time sensitive, because we're not sure when it's going to be effective. We expect it to be, the experts, I don't say we, the experts expect that it will be passed after the midterm elections. We're not sure exactly there's been some varying reports of what's going to be passed in the secure legislation, but it will most definitely impact these 457 plans, and that's why we feel like there needs to be a separate board, because there could be changes coming to those plans in the plan design of those.
Just Chairman, I was just going to thank Regina for the work on this, because I know it's been a very long haul to be able to get to where we are today. I just appreciate you seeing this through and making sure that we've got those checks and balances in place.
Yes, Amy was a big driver in this. She's being too humble, and Wiley Williams really did the lion's share of the work on the ordinance. Cindy Burley, our outside counsel, was involved, and Brett Logan, who's not, he's not here, but Brett Logan from the municipal counselor's office kind of carried it to the finish line after Wiley retired. So do need to recognize all those people.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion on item 11B. I have a motion and a second. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 11C is authorize the OCERS Retirement System Manager to serve as a board member for the Oklahoma Public Funds Trustee Education Conference Association.
Okay. Most of you know about the conference that we participate in. We participated in it for 25 years. That conference has rotated through 8 various public pension plans as host plans, and the OPTEC is not a legal entity. And so it's created an issue with both the host plans trying to make arrangements and the attendees trying to get registered, since they're all governmental and have rules for setting up vendors and things like that. So the collective group of host plans wishes to create an association to help with these issues. And I'm asking your approval to serve on the board of this collective association, and all other plan administrators are going to also be seeking their respective board approval to serve on this board. Upon approval from all of the various boards, Mark Edwards from Phillips Murrah, who is the state pension plans legal counsel, it will be working to create a non-for-profit legal entity for this OPTEC association. It's a mouthful.
Yeah, all this does is there's 8 different plans in the state that are public pension plans, and it'll form a board of the administrators of all those plans to, as Regina said, work, I would guess, initially on the conference every year and, help everybody get registered and just make it easier from that perspective. There may be other issues that come up in the future that that board needs to deal with once it's established, but this is the primary issue that they're asking for approval. So, any questions?
Well, I have a comment. We just come back from training, and I was very impressed this year with Asset Consulting Group, with the lineup of the individual speakers and the subjects that they had in there. I mean, if you truly want to learn about what's going on in this industry, that one was a good one. They hit on a lot of really good topics. But I would say, Regina, I sat next to you in every one of those meetings, and I observed myself how much you enjoy this, how much you listen. You're not there just to have fun. You actually listen and what's going on. So I don't think I could think of a better candidate to be in there than yourself. I support this.
Okay. With that, we'll entertain a motion on item C. A motion and a second. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 12 is to receive the investment consultant report. Jason and Patty couldn't be here today, so they have provided us a copy of the report. If you're in a good mood, don't look at it. So, but they'll be here next month, so anyway, we'll entertain a motion simply to receive the report. Have a motion to second. Record your vote. Item is approved. Item number 13 is comments from board staff and citizens.
Richard Mahoney, Municipal Counselor's Office. I'd like to advise the board that we got an inquiry from one of the law firms that handles security litigation for us. And we met with the lawyer for that, and they presented us with some information that falls within the policy adopted by the board for investment or for litigation on proper investment of our securities. And we'll be coming forward with the board next month with a contract to engage in that litigation. It did not arrive in time to make the agenda this week, so we'll have it on there for next month.
Thank you, sir. Anything else for the good of the cause? Hearing none, we are adjourned at 10:24. Thank you, everybody.